AskReddit by deleted. Americans, USA, what is a good thing about your country? Deleted. The national park system. We have a bit of everything. Deserts, forests, swamps, mountains, tropical, etc. Deleted. National parks always seem to be the first answer to this kind of question. Some variation always lands on top. Because, well, it's true. I am a naturalized US citizen, have been living here for 12 years now, and I am still in awe and disbelief on how amazing public libraries are here. I got teary. Thank you from a librarian. US has 63 national parks and thousands of state parks. They preserve some of America's most beautiful places. That's just the actual parks. There are 423 sites. Parks, historical sites, monuments and such. We are fortunate for sure. National parks are pretty fucking fantastic. State parks are pretty fantastic too. Most Americans are genuinely nice people. TV typically only shows the disasters. Yellowstone. Yellowstone is like being on an entirely different planet at times, with a ridiculous amount of flora and fauna that either want to eat you or build a nest in your car, not to mention the eldritch geysers and springs. It's absolutely essential viewing, and God bless Teddy Roosevelt. The Americans with Disabilities Act. I didn't realize how much reserved parking spots by the door, wide sidewalks that must be clean, handicap bathrooms, and having ramps at the entrance were important until my brother became wheelchair bound. Yes, and it also ensures all children are entitled to an education at a public school, regardless of physical or mental abilities. I didn't realize that this isn't the case everywhere until I heard about friends struggling to find a place to enroll their special needs child. As an immigrant, I've always felt at home. You are home. We are huge. You can go on pretty much any kind of a vacation you want without leaving the country. Beach, mountains, desert, snow, high culture, big city, small rural town, sports, music. The only limit is your time and your budget. A lot of Europeans rag on Americans for not traveling. That's easy to say when your country is the size of one of our states and has one or two different biomes. Americans don't need to travel as much because there's more to see inside America. Space program. It's so impressive that even a space nerd like me can totally forget that there's some mission going on. I had no idea DART had even been launched until a couple of days before we smacked the shit out of that thing. 30-year fixed rate mortgages. This has never occurred to me. What are mortgages like for other countries? Access to public education for children with special needs is a right guaranteed by law, and those protections are stronger, and the educational service for special needs children are better than in most of the rest of the world. The ADA is also pretty amazing, and the United States is a lot more accessible than most other countries. Some of that because the buildings are newer, yes. But it's really nice to go on vacation and know that your hotel will be able to accommodate you, tour buses will be able to accommodate you, most tourist attractions will be able to accommodate you, etc. This put a tear in my eye. This year I found out my baby has a genetic condition and disabilities, and I have been shown already how much support this country has for kids with special needs. In the scary diagnosis days, it was a relief to feel like my son is a valuable citizen who deserves extra support. I live in Seattle, and I love that you can find any kind of food from anywhere in the world if you look hard enough. I've traveled all over the US, and each city has its own food history since everyone's families originally, 99%, came from somewhere else. And like everyone says, our federal park system is huge. I love the regional food scenes in the US. Every city region has a couple of things they do well, and you can get some pretty delicious creations. You go to a restaurant, and they just give you a gigantic glass of ice water for free. Also, public restrooms are free, and often very clean if you use them in restaurants. Edit, OMG 1000 upvotes on a comment about toilets. I wasn't expecting that, lol. Incredible natural beauty and diversity of ecosystems. The endless diversity of delicious food brought by immigrants from around the world. Hence all the sauces in our fridges. The fact that I can piss and moan about and criticize the government and or president and not fear official retribution. An American soldier and a Soviet soldier find themselves discussing their respective countries. The American soldier tells a Soviet soldier, for instance, I could go to Washington DC, go to the White House, into the Oval Office and tell John F. Kennedy to his face, Mr. President, I do not like the way you're running this country. The Soviet laughs and says, you think that is unique? I can go to Moscow, go to the Kremlin, into the office of Nikita Khrushchev and tell him to his face, Mr. Chairman, I do not like the way Kennedy runs his country. There's red tape and damp BS, but you still can work in any industry you want in the US. You can also switch career paths and start over at any time. Our community college system rocks. While this may not apply to any given American person or town, our culture is not rigid or uptight at all. There's very little consequence in doing things drastically different from your neighbors, and there's not much broad expectation to conform to how things are done. Someone might judge you, but that's just, like, their opinion, man. While I don't think this is necessarily uniquely American, it's definitely not universal. America does support individualism over conformity. Free public restrooms. And water. Most of the country is very beautiful. We have basically every kind of ecology here. Diverse geography: tropics, mountains, plains, deserts, seashore. A lot of people say there is no American culture, but there is. It's just so spread and diverse that you don't notice it. You can get culture shock from going a state or two over. Culture is our biggest export. Music, entertainment, and other forms of American art are the most popular in the entire world. It might not show on the news or even on social media, but the diversity is truly amazing. You can have a group full of different types of people and it's always a good time. I've never been out of the country, but I find it neat that we can get a taste of almost everything here. It might not be perfect or authentic, but at least we have an idea. I think about this often. I'm a Texan, and just today there was a man and his wife set up outside the grocery store selling barbecue. Men, women, white, black, Asian, Middle Eastern, all standing in line, laughing, talking, kids running around, just picking up some slow smoked brisket, ribs, and links to take home. Diversity. Sometimes it blows my mind that a place like Florida could be in the same country as a place like Alaska. I'm from Florida. It blows my mind we exist. The country is huge. It takes about 42 hours of non-stop driving to go from New York City to Los Angeles. That's probably 4 days of solid driving with at least 10 hours a day or driving. What you see on the news about us is not representative of the common person. Each state is almost like an individual country in itself. The nation is absolutely gorgeous, from red rock deserts, to pine forests, to barren prairies, to stunning mountain ranges, to beautiful tropical beaches, and more. The people are almost universally friendly. It's our culture. You say hi to strangers and ask how they are doing even if you've never met them. It's our small talk to start a conversation, whether it's at a store, restaurant, or random person on the street. Ever heard of the Cannonball Run? It's an unofficial race across the nation from some garage in a hotel in California. The current record, set during the pandemic due to reduced traffic, still took over 24 hours. free refills on drinks at restaurants. For the most part, we are very friendly. You can have a friendly little chat or interaction with a stranger anywhere like you're good friends. I just got back from a 2-week backpacking trip through the Nordics and, no offense because I love and respect their culture, I felt completely invisible the entire time. No one is friendly there, partially because it's considered weird to talk to strangers. But the coldness is palpable. Made me a little relieved to get back to the US where people actually smile or chat with you instead of just being as cold as possible. Also, we tend not to hate tourists because of where they're from, the way that some, definitely not most, but some, people immediately made assumptions about Americans and were actively mean because of it. Like, yes, there are some dirtbag American tourists. Unfortunately, I've met them. But the vast majority of us are not like that and shouldn't be treated like that immediately. Americans don't really see tourists when they come here and actively try to be mean because of what country the tourist is visiting from, the way some, but not all, Europeans do when they see Americans. Yeah, that's something I'm starting to realize. As an European, we can be cold for no reason. I once met an American Asian guy in a plane. We talked almost during the entire trip. When we landed, we got something to drink and he even paid for me. Friendliest guy ever. Dolly Parton, obviously. If you thought the Brits were dramatic when the Queen died, just wait till you see how us Easterners react when Dolly dies. Just kidding, we're putting her in Cyroleptil. Immortality technology arrives.